Hey, Bears fans! We're back with an exclusive video on the latest updates on our beloved Chicago Bears. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. That way, you'll always stay up to date with breaking news and exclusive content. The Chicago Bears fan base has already seen the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft unfold, and now it's time to evaluate the team's only selection that night, assign a grade to Colston Loveland, and look ahead to what's coming next. With several promising players still available, the team is positioned at picks 39 and 41 in the second round, which creates significant anticipation. The initial analysis was done previously, and now, a few hours later, we're here to discuss the draft evaluation since Loveland was selected at the 10th overall spot. My opinion remains unchanged. I would have chosen Tyler Warren over him, who was still on the board, but that doesn't mean Loveland is a bad pick. Looking at the overall rankings, Loveland was rated 14th, so selecting him at 10th isn't an absurd decision. Some teams had him ranked higher than Warren, and the Bears were one of them. Since the previous analysis, new information has surfaced suggesting that Loveland could elevate the offense even more. Therefore, I'm not just going to hand out an A grade. I'll give him a B-. That's my judgment, but I believe it's a moment where trust in evaluations is vital. I would have gone with Warren, but I'm not responsible for the team's decisions, so I understand why they made this choice. I see Loveland as a route runner with agility who can move effectively on the field. He's 2 years younger, turning 21 just earlier this month. This pick allows for personal preferences in terms of the type of player desired. Loveland hasn't yet reached his full potential compared to Tyler Warren. There's a lot of room for growth as a blocker and an overall player. Nearly 600 yards in an offense that struggled to complete passes last year with different quarterbacks on the field makes Loveland a good pick. Again, it's not an A grade for me because I prefer Tyler Warren, and I stand by that. However, this doesn't mean I don't believe Loveland can become a high-level professional athlete or that I don't think he'll be a good player, because I do. He was widely considered a top 15 prospect. I believe his floor was at 14th overall. If the Bears had chosen Warren at 10, Loveland would likely have been selected 14th by the Colts. So, evaluating the pick overall, I'd give it a B-. It's a good pick, but not excellent. If Warren hadn't been available, I might have given it a B+ because apart from Tyler Warren, there wasn't another player I would have preferred over Loveland. For me, Loveland was among a small group of players still available at that moment. Other athletes were picked soon after, and there wasn't a strong preference for other names. If they had told me Loveland was the next pick, I would have said, it makes sense. Now, considering the fit, it's clear they believe he fits better into their existing schemes. Moreover, it's noteworthy that Loveland is viewed as a top prospect at his position. Although I think Warren offered a bit more versatility, I see potential in Loveland. You can now analyze the integration, and you realize they see him as a more advantageous option alongside Cole. In my view, KT represents a more traditional tight end, and I still believe Loveland is the best pure prospect for that role. However, I see Warren as a slightly more flexible athlete, and I thought the coach would value that adaptability. Observing the analysis and the conversations during his selection, it's clear the coach was excited. He commented, "You're my favorite pick. We have complete confidence in your abilities as an athlete." That was an interesting remark. According to the draft expert, Loveland might not have the complete skill set required for inline functions, but his agile movements, skilled hands, and field awareness make him one of the top targets in a professional league offense. His potential and traits resemble some of Zach Z's, and the coach compares him to an athlete like Sam Laporta. I find this pick appealing, even though I would have preferred Warren as the first choice. Still, I believe Loveland will become a solid player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stood out compared to others in the professional league. Without a doubt, both have the potential to become exceptional athletes. We were all keeping an eye on Ashton Jeanty when the team made the trade. This change complicated plans and made negotiations difficult before their rivals, which ended up not materializing. So they acquire Colston Loveland, a pick I endorse, and I see in him the potential to be a key piece in an offense. Now, let's look ahead to day 2, where we'll discuss some of the top players still available and potential targets for the team. as they have 3 picks tomorrow. It's necessary to select at least 2 players to have a chance of turning up to 2,000 times your investment and track your team throughout the season. Exactly, it's feasible to turn $10 into 2,000 with some lineups. The process is simple. Choose 2 to 6 players for your lineup, decide on over or under for the projected stats, and make your registration. This whole process takes less than a minute. Register today and receive $50 instantly by investing just $5. Just build a lineup with $5. Using our code, you'll receive this bonus when you bet $5. There are football stats throughout the season, daily baseball stats, basketball player data, and even hockey and soccer, with many sports ongoing right now. Create your lineups today, mixing sports in your selections. Now, let's focus on day 2, where you add Colston Loveland, along with Cole, KT, DJ Moore, Roman Dunn, DeAndre Swift, and a running back who really intrigues me for tomorrow, along with the defensive lines in general. Once this situation with Colston Loveland unfolds, we'll see some of the best athletes available. When the team moved up in the selection, it threw things off a bit because I think they were evaluating whether they should move up or down. If they hadn't reached an agreement, they probably would have traded with the other team, but that didn't happen due to the move up. The team wasn't willing to give up the 5th pick because they wanted Mason Graham, while the other team went with Genty. I think they thought they wouldn't be able to get him, but as soon as he was available, they decided, let's grab him. The coach likes an aggressive approach, so one player went to the 7th pick, another to the 8th, and for those who aren't familiar, it's good to know a player was selected. I believe the team could have picked him if he had been within reach at the 10th pick. So they selected Colston Loveland ahead of other athletes, while some went to the 14th pick. For those interested, now let's review the best available players according to our draft experts' extensive list. The team could have selected him if he had been available at the 10th pick, but decided to go with Colston Loveland before Mike Williams, Tyler Booker, and later Tyler Warren, who was picked 14th by the Colts. For those interested, let's explore the best players still available according to our draft experts' analysis, followed by a positional evaluation. Will Johnson is quite intriguing. There are indications of a knee issue, which leaves me somewhat uncertain about his fit in this system, but in the 2nd round, I see him as a good option. It'll be interesting to see if the Bears consider him. The cornerback position isn't a priority, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Green is picked. Concerns about his character and sexual harassment allegations have clearly made teams cautious. It'll be fascinating to see where he lands. Luther Bird and Nicky Manwari are also prospects to watch, in the range between 39 and 41, while Donovan Esaraku is more of a pass rusher in a 3-4 scheme, but I value what he could bring in the 2nd round. Trayvon Henderson is an attractive pick, and I'd like to see Judkins with the Bears. However, Henderson is a solid possibility, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's selected. Carson Schweisinger and Xavier Watts are also options, along with Shador Sanders, who wasn't selected tonight. Caleb Johnson is another alternative, and Arante Ursary stands out among the last tackles available who could debut in Week 1. Keep an eye on JTO. I believe he's an athlete the Bears are evaluating with great interest. Moving to a positional analysis, we mentioned Henderson, whom I really appreciate, but I'm not a fan of the combination with Swift. If they choose Henderson, it might signal a change regarding Swift within 12 months. Swift will likely still be on the roster this year, but their skills overlap quite a bit, making a long-term partnership challenging. In terms of rankings, I would put Judkins ahead of Caleb Johnson, so I go with Judkins at 3rd, Johnson at 4th, and Henderson at 5th from the Bears' perspective. I believe Judkins and Johnson have the ability to run effectively between the tackles, change direction, and catch passes. They're more complete runners than Henderson, even though he excels in pass protection and is likely a better receiver. Again, this comes down to personal preferences. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. DJ Moore, one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the NFL, has made it clear that he's feeling undervalued by the Chicago Bears. After a season of solid performances and numerous highlight reel plays, Moore's frustration with the team's lack of recognition is reaching its breaking point. The Bears, who traded for Moore in the offseason with high hopes for their offensive resurgence, now face a growing tension with their star wide receiver. Moore was acquired from the Carolina Panthers alongside a package of draft picks in an effort to provide quarterback Justin Fields with a top-tier weapon on the outside. The trade was meant to inject a sense of stability and star power into a struggling Bears offense. However, it seems that the promise of that partnership hasn't quite materialized as expected. While Moore's numbers have remained respectable, his relationship with the organization appears to be deteriorating. For Moore, the issue seems to lie not in his performance, but in how he's been utilized within the Bears' offense. Despite being one of the most talented receivers in the league, he has often found himself in a supporting role rather than the focal point of the offense. This, combined with the team's overall struggles on offense, has led Moore to express his dissatisfaction. His comments have hinted at a feeling of being taken for granted, as if his skills and contributions are not being fully appreciated by the coaching staff and front office. The Bears, for their part, have yet to publicly address Moore's concerns, but the situation is growing more urgent with each passing week. There are whispers around the league that the star receiver might be looking for a way out of Chicago if his role and respect within the organization don't improve. The last thing the Bears need is for their prized acquisition to become a disgruntled player seeking a trade, potentially leading to a distraction that could further derail their already fragile season. As for Moore, it's clear he's ready for more. He wants to be a game changer, the kind of player who makes the difference in critical moments and helps elevate a team to new heights. Unfortunately, it appears that the Bears are not providing him with the platform he needs to truly shine. Whether this will lead to a trade request or a change in the Bears' offensive philosophy remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, DJ Moore's frustration is mounting, and the Bears need to act fast before they risk losing one of their most talented players. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.